subtraction, the multiplication and division of vectors. Specifically also for multiplication, you have the dot product and the cross product. Okay, and for division of vectors, there will only be division a vector divided by a constant, okay, for vectors for our subject, but there will be no vector divided by another vector. Now, also we have this in magnitude of a vector. So basically it's almost the same as Pythagorean theorem, but there will be 3 elements on our magnitude. Okay. Okay, now let's proceed with the different types of coordinate systems. Now, we have 3 different types of coordinate systems. So you have the rectangular, you have the cylindrical, and you have the spherical coordinate system. Now, sir, man na sila. If some of you karon pa nakadungog, okay, it's because mostly ang ginagamit yun is kaning rectangular coordinate system. Okay? But it's not stated na rectangular coordinate system dahil na. No? Sir, ano may rectangular coordinate system sa mong pambuhat, sir? Okay? Now, kanang graph na nyohang i-plot using the x and y axis. Okay? That is a rectangular coordinate system. Okay? So, using the x and y axis. But that is just a 2-dimensional drawing. Okay? Now, if you can remember your drawing before, na mo subject ka drawing before, yeah, mag-drawing mo og 3-dimensional na. So, you have the x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. Now, basically, that is also a rectangular coordinate system. Okay? Because rectangular coordinate system, okay, is a coordinate system presented by the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. Now, okay, this will be the diagram for the rectangular coordinate system. You have the x-axis at the front, the y-axis, okay, with horizontal position, and the z-axis with the vertical position. Okay. Now, since mo man ang x-axis, wala na ikuan, wala na likod. Kaning sa y-axis, wala sa likod. Okay, so kani siya, it's just means nga these are the positive values. Okay? Pero ang other side ani niya will be the negative values. If we're going to plot this one, we're going to plot this one thoroughly for the rectangular coordinate system. Okay, now recall for 2-dimensional, okay? For 2-dimensional, diba, this is origin, and then the positive x-axis, and then the negative x-axis. Then you have the positive y-axis and the negative y-axis. This is your 2-dimensional coordinate system. Okay, 2-dimensional rectangular coordinate system. But for 3-dimensional na, of course, you will have you have the x-axis at the front, you have the y-axis in horizontal, and you have the z-axis in vertical. Okay, so x, positive x-axis, positive y-axis, and positive z-axis. Okay, now for this one, we're just using the isometric view, no? Because if we're not going to use the isometric view, we cannot possibly see the x-axis, which is usually it's in the front. Okay, so di na maklaro ang positive x-axis kung dili na to ya isometric ang view. Now again, as I've said, no nga, kung mga positive axis niya nga kung gibutang dari, of course the negative axis will be the opposite side. So this will be your straight. This will be the negative x-axis. This will be the negative y-axis. And of course, this will be your negative z-axis. Okay, so negative x, negative y, and negative z. Okay, so automatic na ha. Kung mo na yung positive x, automatic, ang opposite side, it is negative x. If this is the positive y-axis, automatic, the other side is the negative y-axis. And if this is the positive z-axis, the opposite side will be the negative z-axis. Okay, so just like sa 2D, just like sa 2-dimensional, okay, positive the ray, automatic opposite side negative na. But this time, we're just using the 3-dimensional coordinate system. Okay, now, so again, you have here, no, recall, you have the unit vector. So unit vector is just the representation of the direction. So you have here along x, along y, and along z, or ax, ay, and az. Now, if I have a vector, okay, let's say if I have a vector r, okay, it can be presented in a rectangular coordinate system by, you have vector r is equal to magnitude a along x plus magnitude b along y plus magnitude c along z. So with this, no, for example, muna akong vector r. So this vector has three components. So you have magnitude a along the x-axis, and then magnitude b along the y-axis, and then you have the magnitude c along the z-axis. Okay? So where a, b, and c are numerical values. So puros ni sila mga so tawag na, mga real values ni sila ha. Kaning ax, ay, and az, these are unit vectors. By the way, naka-record na ba? O nag-record na dahil? Okay, so ayan. Okay, no? So, okay, so again, if you have a vector present in an area of a rectangular coordinate system, this will be the representation of the vector. Okay, now, why is it called the rectangular coordinate system? It's called a rectangular coordinate system because basically you can form a rectangular box, okay, in this coordinate system using the x, y, and z axis. So with this rectangular box, for example, if you want to get the volume of this one, just have to recall that the formula for volume of a rectangular box, you just have to use length times width times height. If you want to get the area, of course, just determine the dimension of the area involved. For example, ang area kay sa front. Okay, so you have to determine on sa may dimensions anong sa front. Okay, kung naa sa right side ang area, on sa may dimensions ano sa right side, and so on and so forth. Now, problem is, what if our box doesn't have a plane surface? Okay? What if ang atoang box ang iyang surface kay garing-garing? Okay? Garing-garing na. Sir, ano si garing-garing, sir? Nang may lighter sa garing-garing. Okay? Ano eh, na pinrawid na rin. No? So what if inani ang surface sa atoang box? So it's not straight, it's not plane. Okay? Now if you're still going to use the length times width times height, then there will be the bigger error will come out from your final value for the volume. Okay, kaya dili mo na siya plane. So the more rough ang imong surface or the more dili plane ang imong object, the more sad magkadako ang error. Okay? Now, what we're going to do? Shave off the surface so it will become flat. Okay? Now with this one, okay, what we're going to do is instead we're just going to take out very small, okay, very small parts of your object, of your box. Or ibutang natog tagod-taguron tanig gagmay kay mo taning ginaling, gagmay jud kay nga ginaling. Okay? So magsample lang tag isa, no? Magkuha tag gamay kay nga tipak. Kung gamay nga tipak sa ato ang object, okay? And then tungod sa kagamay ana, it will turn out na nga mura na siya og mura na siya og plain ang surface sa imuhang tipak, no, tungod sa kagamay. So dili na nimo maklaro nga uy hiwi na siya tungod sa kagamay. Okay, so assume tang nagko gamay kayo nga part sa ato ang object. Since gamay mo kani nga part, recall mo sa mathematics, if that is a very small amount, then it's called a differential amount. Okay, uy ano ni sir, differential calculus ni sir? Yes, differential calculus ni. Okay, so we'll have a differential amount of this object from our main object. So this differential amount will have a differential volume and differential areas. Okay, so of course the sides will also be the differential sides. So differential amount of the x-axis, differential amount of the y-axis, and differential amount of the z-axis. So these are the dimensions of this very small object, a very small part of your rough rectangular box. Okay. Now, of course, since these are the dimensions, if we're going to use, if we're going to determine the volume, again, since this is a very small part, then this has a differential volume. Okay? So, the differential volume, of course, if we're going to follow length times width times height, we can now use dx, dy, and dz. Okay, so length times width times height, length times width times height. So that is basically just dx, dy, dz. Sir, nga nang magamit naman taog length times width times height, sir na. Dili maka-apply ng surface sa object. Now again, as I've said, pag kuha na to gamay kay nga tipak sa object, okay, pwede na to ma-assume nga tungod sa kagamay, plane na ni or straight na ni ang iyahang mga sides, iyahang mga dimension straight na tungod sa kagamay. Okay, so that's why we can easily use length times width times height this time if you want to get the small amount of volume for this one. And of course, if you want to get the areas, okay, the areas, let's say the area in the front, you just have to determine the dimension. Okay, dimension sa front, you have this is z and this is y. So dy dz ang differential area sa front. Okay, dy dz. Then how about ang sa right? Ang surface sa right, you have the x-axis and you have the z-axis. So this will be dx dz. And lastly, differential area sa top, you have this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So this is dx dy. Okay? Sir, how about ang area sa back, sir? Sa back, sa left, sa bottom. Okay? Now, it's very obvious, no? Ang area sa back is just the same as area sa front. Ang left area is just the same as the right area. And the bottom area is, of course, the same as the top area. Okay? So that's why we only have these three differential areas. Okay? Now, what if I want to get the total, sir? The total volume. Okay? Since I only have a small amount of volume, a differential amount of volume or differential amount of area, dA1 or dA2 or dA3, and the differential volume, since I only have these ones, sabi na kapag kuha sa total volume, sir. Okay? Now, I believe you already know the answer. Okay? Using mathematics ng gihapon, we're going to use integration. Okay? So, using integral, ay, saan to? Okay, using integral, di ba? Differential volume, oy. Let's use red. Differential volume is equal to dx, okay, dy, dz. If you want to get a total, use integration. Okay, so integrate all small volumes. Also integrate this one. Then you can have tanggal ang d. Have v is equal to integral sa dx, dy, dz. Okay, so this will be a multiple integration. Okay, multiple integration of three sides. So, recall mo, oy, integral ra gini siya. Okay? That's the reason why no nga ang electromagnetics ang iyang prerequisite is integral calculus, because majority of the topics for electromagnetics will be using differential calculus and integral calculus. Okay? So, right now, you have to recall na, no? You have to start recalling the integration formulas, the differentiation formulas that you have learned from your differential calculus and integral calculus, because we will be heavily using these formulas no for integration and differentiation. Okay? So, pero sa duha, ang differential ug integral, ang mas heavy gyud nga gamiton is ang integration. Okay? Mas daghan jud ayo og topics nga gamitan og integration formulas. Ang ato ang topic no from mga 2 topics after aning magamit ang integration, then mga 2 topics na sad after gamit na sa tag integration ya sugod ana. Okay, mga ika-6 topic siguro. Ika-3rd topic, integration. Ika-5th topic, integration. Guman ana, integration o differentiation na dayon. Integral o differentiation din, sunod-sunod. So, daghan kaayo tag ko, ano? Daghan na kayo tag mga topics aning sa electromagnetics. Kaya mo gamit tag integral. Mo gamit tag differential, calculus. So, that's why prerequisite ng calculus for this subject. Again, slowly recall. Okay, slowly take out your notes from your calculus days. Manguhaan na itong balik, hinahinaya na og review ang imuhang mga calculus from start to finish. Okay, now, dili man gid sari nga katong application nga part no. Kato lang mga integration formulas o differentiation formulas. Kato lang. Okay? So usually kuan man gid ta diri for integral calculus, usually multiple integration ang kasagaran natong kuan no gamiton diri sa electromagnetics. Just like this one, you have triple integral no dx, dy and dz. Okay? So usually nana to ang kuan no ato ang integration formulas na masugatan for electromagnetics. Okay? Again, so we are now starting with the integral and differential formulas. Okay? Now this is for rectangular coordinate system only. How about the cylindrical coordinate system? Why is it called cylindrical coordinate system? Okay? Now, a cylindrical coordinate system is represented by the radius rho, the base angle phi, and the cylindrical height z. Okay? So using the basis for x, y, and z axis, okay? Using the basis again, using the basis for the rectangular coordinate system na x, y, and z axis. You have the representation for cylindrical coordinate system, the radius rho, okay? And then from the x-axis as the basis, you have your base angle phi, then your height z. Now, why is the cylindrical coordinate system represented by rho, radius, base angle, and cylindrical height? Okay. Now, same with rectangular coordinate system. If you can form a rectangular box from a rectangular coordinate system, then for a cylindrical coordinate system, you can form a cylinder. Okay? Oy, sana dali siya. Okay, makaporma sa taog cylinder. Okay? That's why it's called cylindrical coordinate system. So, asa man diha ang radius, angle, phi, o height. So, of course, ang radius ay imuhang cylinder, so that would be the radius rho. Okay? Then, ang base angle phi niya, as you can see, di ba, ang base niya is a circle. So, you have here the base angle phi. No, sir, nga nung mag-base angle pa man ta, sir, nga circle raman na, sir, 2 pi raman na siya. Na not always nga complete circle gina siya. There will be times kay muhang cylinder will be half lang sa cylinder or 1/4 lang sa cylinder or let's say from 0 to 120 degrees lang sa cylinder. No? So there will be times nga inana. Okay, so that's why your cylindrical coordinate system is also represented by its base angle. So it's not always a complete circle base. Now, for the vector representation, let's say a certain vector no is present on a rectangular cylindrical coordinate system, then to represent it in a vector, that will just be the magnitude A along the radius rho plus the magnitude B along the angle phi plus the magnitude C along the height Z. So of course, ang iyahang radius, pila na iyahang radius. So to represent nga naa sa radius, so you will have A rho. Okay? And then the angle, so let's say kung half lang cylinder ang gigamit, so you're going to use let's say 180 degrees. But take note, since angle man na siya, so atong butangan og unit vector nga A phi. To represent nga it's along the phi. Okay, it's along the coordinate sa base angle. But take note, since wala may trigo function diha nga cosine, sine, tangent, or any other trigo function, your angle will not be in degree mode, but in radian mode. For example, kung half lang ang cylinder ang ato ang gihimo, so you're not going to use 180 degrees. Instead, you're going to use pi. Okay? So, take note ang angle na to dere, if na ay trigo function, then you can use the degree mode. Okay? For the given. But kung wala trigo function diha, then we have to use it as a real number. So you have to convert that into its equivalent radian. Okay? Again, into its equivalent radian. And then you have here the height. Okay? Magnitude C. Okay? Along the z-axis. Okay, of course, naaman na siya sa z-axis. So the height, of course, equivalent height sa cylinder. Now, same gyapon sa sa rectangular coordinate system, no? If we want to get the volume of a cylinder, okay, so just recall the formula will just be the area sa base sa ato ang cylinder times the height. Di ba? Mura man na ang volume sa cylinder, no? Okay? Area sa base times the height. But, same gihapon. What if ang ato ang cylinder dili plain ang surface or rough ang surface or
Yes.
ang imuhang edges no or imuhang surface itself is kuan dili plain. Same gihapon inani for example. Okay? Now, to solve for the volume, muna gyapon no katong gigamit na to or katong gibuhat na to sa rectangular box, ato na siyang tagud-taguron. Ginagmayon ta ni siya to a very small amount, okay? Para ang iyahang mga ang iyahang mga rough nga surfaces dili na maklaro. Tungod sa kagamay sa object o tungod sa kagamay sa tipak na lang or tungod kay gagmay na jud kayo ang pagtagod-tagod nato sa ato ang cylinder, dili na maklaro nga kuan day no, dili na maklaro nga dili day na plain ang surface. So in a way, let's say mukha ko gamay kay nga tipak dari. So inani ang forma, okay? So you have here a curve. Okay, kaninga curve it's because of this one, no? Kasi circular man ang base. Okay? So mo ang curve. So tungod sa kagamay niya, mahimo na siyang murag straight line na, mura na og plane. Na kaning curve diri sir, tungod sa kagamay mura naman kahag straight sir. So ang kaning curve diri ako lang ipakita nga curve diha, pero in actual ana tungod sa kagamay dili na nimo na maklaro nga curve na siya. So mura na lang na siya straight line pud. Okay? So since kung mura na siya straight line kana tanang dimensions na niya tungod sa kagamay, then we can directly use length times width times height na, okay? Straight naman tanan. Okay, mas straight naman ni tanan. So we can now use length times width times height if we want to get the volume of this very small part of our cylinder. Question is, unsa iyahang mga dimensions? Mo na lay pangutana, no? Now, here, unsa mo to pag-determine sa dimension, sir? Okay? Now, ingon na rin, no? So, for a cylindrical coordinate system, as I've said, mapurma na siya cylinder, no? Okay, for example, no ni. Okay? Then let's say for example, ang kung gikuha ang tipak, let's say dali dapita. So nagkuha gamay nga tipak diha dapita. Okay? So kung ato nang itop view, okay, for example, kung ato nang itop view, let's say, nani ang forma, no? Okay? Nana ang forma kung top view. So kung ato na siyang i-extender padung sa center, okay? Na, kung extend na to sa center. Okay? So kani ang gamay kay nga tipak nga atong gikuha. Now sa may dimensions na niya. Of course, this side will be since kani siya radius man no? Kani, this is radius. Now, unsa man siya nga dimension? Then, kung radius ni siya kaning tibuok, nya gamay ra man kay ni nga part, then this will be a very small part of the radius. 0. Okay? How about this one? Sir, unsa man to pagkuha sa distance ani sir o dimension ani sir? Curve man siya sir. Makuha din nato ang dimension aning curve no part? Well, answer is basically yes. Okay? Recall. Sample inani, no? How to solve for this curve? Diba? This is just arc length. Let's say arc length S. Okay? Siya mo itong S na siya. Let's say arc length. Okay? If this is the radius and this is the angle theta, arc length is just R times the angle theta. Okay? Now, basically, this one is also arc length. Pero, gamay lang kayo ng arc length. A very small amount of arc length. So, again, arc length is just the radius times the angle. So, radius times the angle. But since this is a very small amount, then this will be a differential amount of the angle phi. A very small amount of the angles. Therefore, ang kanina nga to ang curved part will be the radius rho times the angle, which is the phi. Okay? So that's why other ray, okay, rho d phi. So this will be the dimension of the curved part, rho d phi. Okay? Then you have here this very small amount of the radius. And of course, the z-axis, wala may laing representation sa z-axis, zero man ang height z. So that is a very small amount of the height z. So from here, nanatay dimensions. Okay? So dimensions na to, rho d phi, then d rho of dz. So if we want to get the differential amount of volume of this very small part of the cylinder, as I've said, since gamay kini siya, so mura na ni siya og straight line in actual tungod sa kagamay. So we can apply length times width times height na lang, no? So length times width times height. We will have rho d phi, and dz. Okay? How about getting the area here at the front? So again, use the dimensions. So this dimension is rho d phi, and this dimension is dz. So rho d phi dz. And then this area here, okay, the differential area 2, so its dimensions are d rho and dz. So that would be d rho dz. Okay, in differential area 3, its dimension here would be rho d phi, and this is d rho. Okay, oy, sayop mo rin. This should not be rho d phi dz. This should be rho d phi and d rho. Okay, kindly take note ha, sayop ni siya, sayop ng differential area 3. Again, ang differential area 3, okay, differential area 3 will be rho d phi, okay, times kani siyang, oh, kanina. Okay, muna dimension, differential area 3, no? So differential area 3, ang dimension niya will be this one, rho d phi, and this one, which is d rho. So times d rho. Therefore, ang differential area 3 will be rho d phi. Okay? So muna ha, ang differential area 3 ha, rho d phi. Sayop ni. Rho d phi dapat ni. Okay, makabantay na da. So, wag ni mailis eh. Naparehas naman siya sa D area 1 and 1. So, rho d phi ni siya. Okay, so that is for cylindrical coordinate system. Okay? Next, the last type of coordinate system, you have the spherical coordinate system. Okay? Now, same gapon. Anong itawag po siya spherical coordinate system? Of course, because you can form a sphere from this coordinate system using the x, y, and z axis as your basis. Pero, it's just a hemisphere. Half lang sa sphere ang maporma ani niya. Okay? So this half, ang other half ana niya will be the opposite side. So, kung mo ni imuhang, let's say, assume na to no, kung mo ni ang positive side, ang other half niya will be the negative side. Okay? Kung mo ni ang front surface, mo ni ang top, ang opposite niya mo ang bottom. Kung mo ni ang front, ang opposite niya mo ang back. No? So, mo ay pasabot diha, anong hemisphere, half lang. Okay? Now, what if there is a certain, the spherical coordinate system is represented by the radius r. Of course, ang imong sphere na na siya radius. Okay? The radius r, the base angle phi, with the x-axis as the basis, and angular height theta. Okay? So, na angular height theta? Ano na may angular height theta? Now, going back here, for a sphere, of course, natay radius, di ba? Natay radius r. And then, since ang base ano niya, circular manggihapon, so natay base angle phi, just like the cylinder. But take note, ang sphere na to, circular manggihapon ang babaw na niya. Kaninga part, circular gihapon eh. So, for this one, there's also an angle. So, that's why muna siya ang represent sa angular height phi. Kani siya. Muna i-represent sa angular height. Or, kani technically kanino kani. Kaya ang angle phi, ang base raman. So, ang kaning pababaw, this will be the angular height phi. Okay? So, munang duha ka buok angle ang spherical coordinate system. So, again, for example, if I have a vector r, okay, in the middle of this spherical coordinate system, it can be represented by A along the, rho. It should be R ni ha, dili ni siya rho. Okay? Kuha naman ta, no? Spherical naman ta. Again, ang spherical, radius R na. Ang katong cylindrical mo ay raw pa. Okay? So, you have, again, if you have a certain vector found in the middle of this spherical coordinate system, then it can be represented by magnitude A along the radius R. R niya, plus magnitude B along the base angle phi, and the magnitude C along the angular height theta. Okay? Okay? So, yun lang guys ha. Okay. Now, same gyapon. From, okay? Since maporma man ang sphere, ang atong spherical coordinate system. Okay? Mo gyapon, if you want to get the volume, recall ang volume sa sphere was 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay? Nya since hemisphere naman ni or half naman ni, so 4/3 pi r cube divide lang nimo og 2. Okay? But same gyapon yung scenario. What if dili plane ang ato ang sphere? What if rough kayo ihang surface? Okay? So, sample inani, no? What if gring-gring imuhang surface? So again, if you're going to use 4/3 pi r cube, then the more imuhang error. Okay? Kay dili man siya plane. So, same gyapon, magkuha tag gamay lang kay nga tipak sa ato ang sphere. Then, tungod sa kagamay, supposedly, ang imuhang mga rough edges ana, imuhang mga surfaces ana will become straight line na tungod sa kagamay. Di na naman maklaro nga, kuan dahil na, no? Hiwi dahil na, oron sa ba? Now, since naagapon ang, since, sir, naalagi gyapon ang mga curve diha. So again, ako gyapon gibutang ang curve diha kay for representation lang, no? For representation nga, basically, this is a part of the sphere. So as you can see here, duha ka curve. The base angle ng curve o ang angular height ng curve. Okay? So, same gyapon, tungod sa kagamay sa ato ang object, pwede na nato ni ma-applyan og length times width times height. Okay? Kaya again, tungod sa kagamay sa tipak nga atong gikuha, mura na ni siya straight tanawon niya. Okay? Tungod sa kagamay. Now, with that, ato na lang is ang dimensions na lang. Now, for the spherical coordinate system, it's a bit complicated how to solve for its dimensions or how to determine its dimensions. Medyo complicated sa iyang drawing, so dili na lang nako i-explain ang process sa giun sa pagkuha ang iyang dimension. Kay medyo complicated kayo ang drawing. Okay? So dito na lang nato, no? This side will be r sine theta d phi. This side will be r d theta. And this side, of course, will be the small amount of the radius. Okay, so if I want to get the differential amount of volume for this very small part, you will have length times width times height lang. Okay, so you have r sine theta d phi times dr times r d theta. So you will have r squared sine theta dr d phi d theta. Okay, if I want to get the area at the front lang, you have r squared sine theta d theta d phi. If I want to get the area on the right side, you have r dr d theta. And if I want to get the area on the top side, you have r sine theta dr d phi. Okay? Sir, ano may gamit aning mga volume o mga area nga imong gihatag, sir? So, literal ba, sir, nga mag-solve ta og volume, sir, using integral para ma-solve ng volume? Na technically, yes. Along the way, sa ato ang topics, okay? Na ay part sa atong mga topics nga, we have to solve for the volume, we have to solve for the area, okay? And it involves this one, no, kaning mga formulas. Pero along the way pa akong kaasal na nag-discuss na naman ni mo karon. Gidiscuss na ako karon daan tanan para diretso-diretso na igabot na sa katong topic nga manginahanglan tag formula sa volume, we already have the volume. Gidiscuss na nako. Igabot sa topic nga manginahanglan tag area, we already have the area. Gidiscuss na nako. Okay? So, diretso-diretso na ang atong buluhaton. Okay? Dili na ta kailangan pa magtagsa-tagsa pa og magtagsa-tagsa pa og discuss. Igabot sa atong topic, kung wala ko ni gidiscuss og kausa, every time mo agi ta og let's say differential volume. So, stop sa ta sa discussion ato, discuss ako differential volume. Okay? Sunod na sad, kung nanginahanglan tag differential area, stop sa ta sa discussion, discuss ang differential area. Okay, so medyo sayang kayong oras na to sa inana style. So, discuss na ako daan tanan kausa para tubuhaton, magkuha na lang ta, no? Igo na lang ta magkuha. Okay, uy, minanantag area, balik ta ani nga topic, tara ato ang area. Okay, uy, minanantag volume, balik ta ani nga topic, patang volume. Okay, so ina na atong buhaton. Now, I believe nga all these topics no nga lisod jud kaayo ni absorb ang yahang mga formula sa uban pa. So again, mas maayo nga naa jud example. Now, kaning three types of coordinate system kaning mga volume ug mga area. Unya na ni no because ma-directly apply ra man igabot atong nga topic. Ari lang ta sa okay, arita sa algebraic operations and vectors. Okay? Ato nahingi mo ang example, no? Since this is the very basic part. Okay? Nya, kanira bagid mo permitting magamit kaning algebraic operations and vectors. Mo permitting magamit sa from the start of the topic until the end of the topic. So, magsige kita gamit og algebraic operations and vectors. Sige, let's have an example for this one. Para lang ding reason ko ni. Iyaw lang. May reason na no? Wala pa driglain. Okay, example 1. Kausahon ako ha. Given, say vector A, let's say AX plus 2AY plus 3AZ. Then you have vector B. Let's say you have negative 3AX minus 3AY plus 6AZ. And lastly, you have vector C, 2AX plus 5AY plus 3AZ. Okay, so find first one lang. First, find the vector distance from A to B. Okay. Then, second, find the dot product of A and B. Then, yeah. Yun ang dot product. First, 2 times vector A minus 3 times vector B. And then, number 3, you have that product, no? That product sa A, B. And then, number 4, cross product. Cross product sa B cross C. Okay, number 5, let's have A cross sa A cross C. Okay. Yeah. A cross B dot C. And then, lastly, number 6, angle between vector A and vector B. Okay, so you have 6 examples, no? Using the same 3 given vectors, vector A, vector B, and vector C. Now, first, you have vector between A and B. Okay? So, mag-solve sa. Now, to fully understand this one, no? Manong na ay vector between A and B, let's plot vector A, B, and C. Ato i-plot ang vector A, B, and C. Okay? So, supposedly, you'll have, let's say this is x-axis, then you have y-axis, and then you have the z-axis. Okay? So, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So, plotting for vector A. Vector A, you have ang x component, automatic na niya na naanay 1. Okay? So, x component na i-dimension nga 1, magnitude nga 1. So, since wala man ni magnitudes there or lines, maghimo lang ta, no? Let's say mo na magnitude 1. Okay? And then, na magnitude nga 2 along the y-axis. So, along the y-axis, you have 2. Let's say 1, 2. Then, along the z-axis, you have 3. So, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, let's say this is your vector A. Okay? Next, vector B. Yan, present na to blue color. Vector B, negative 3ax. Sige, ito yung batong sa likod. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And then negative 3ay. Okay. So negative man nga ay. So other side, you have 1, 2, and 3. And then positive 6az. So, positive 6az, padang babaw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be our vector B. Okay. Then vector C, you have 2ax. So the green side, ang vector C, green, no? So 2ax, let's say 1, 2, and then 5ay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then 3az. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this will be our vector C. Okay. Now, ang pangutana, by the way, this will be our vector A. Okay. Una itong vector A. Then, ang ato ang vector B. Then, ang ato ang vector C. Okay? Muna itong vector A, vector B, and vector C. Now, pangutana ko ng vector from A to B. So, vector from A to B, meaning, gikan sa A, padong ni B. Kana may pangutana kanina, vector from A to B. Saan man na pag-solve sa. Okay? Now, for this one, ato na ning applyan og physics. Recall mo sa physics, di ba? For example, I have here force 1. Okay? Then I have here force 2. Okay? If I want to solve the total, okay, of force 1 and force 2, that would be Ft, force total Ft. Di ba? And recall, ang toong force total Ft would be F1 plus, okay, F2. Sino naman ay arrow, sir? This is vectorial addition. Okay, you cannot just directly add the magnitude of force 1 and the magnitude of force 2, di ba? Mumbuhaton na ni would be, first solve for the x component of the force total. So, F1x plus summation of force along x plus summation, summation, F1x plus F2x. Kani mo ay summation of forces along x. Then, summation of forces along y would be force 1 y-axis plus force 2 y-axis. Okay? Then, nagumana na, yung mukha ng force total would be square root of F1, summation of forces along summation of forces sa x plus summation of forces sa y. O, diba? Inanay naman na tumbuhaton, diba? Sa physics. Okay, if you want to get the total of these two forces. Now, it will be the same as this one. Okay? Kung ato na siyang ilahi, no? Ang forma na will be like this. Mao ni imuhang vector B. Then, mao ni imuhang vector A. Then, mao ni imuhang vector AB. O, diba? Inaanay na siya, no? Kani siya, mao ni siya. Now, from here, since mao man ang origin, okay? Saan man ito pagparehas, ani sir? Diba, as you can see, kaning F1 o F2 na to is like A and AB. Nya ang total niya would be ang kaning B. So kung apply na to ang formula ni would be ang ato ang vector B mao'y force total, then mao ni atong force 1 mao ni atong force 2. So equal to vector A plus vector AB. Okay? Pero ang pangutana kay AB man, vector AB, dili man ang vector B. Given naman ang vector B, given sa ng vector A. Pangutana is vector AB. So we're going to rearrange this. Ibalihin taning vector A sa pikas. So we'll have vector AB di is equal to vector B minus vector A. Okay? As you can see here, ang vector from A to B will just be ang vector B minus vector A. One time mo, ang iyahang direction, balihon ra na nimo, no? Para, di na ka matagbaw pag-analyze pinainani. Okay? So, balihon na nimo, from A to B, B minus A ra na. Okay? let's say for example, if I want to solve for vector from B to C, technically it's just vector sa C minus vector sa A. Okay? Or if I want to get vector from C to A, that is just vector sa A minus vector sa C. Balihon na lang nimo. Para dili na ta magsigig, dili na ka magsigig balik-balik kag ginani no, magsigig drawing kay unsa kay pormaan ni, asa kay force 1 diha, asa kay force 2 diha kung relate sa physics. So, nana no, baliha lang na siya. Okay? Kung unsa iyang direction, baliha lang. So this one di ay ang ato adeng vector A to B will just be vector B minus vector A. Okay? Okay, solution. The solution would be number 1, vector AB again is just vector B minus vector A, or it's just vector B na to is negative 3ax minus 3ay plus 6az. So 3ax minus 3ay plus 6az minus ang vector A na to is ax plus 2ay plus 3az. So you have ax plus 2ay plus 3 easy. Okay? Order, this is vector sa A to B will be, again, no, recall the algebraic operations of vectors. So, since subtraction naman then, ang katuorang i-subtract, katuorang parehas og directions. So, ax tanan, ay tanan, og az tanan. So, for ax, negative 3 minus 1, so may mong negative 4ax. For ay, negative 3ay minus 2ay, so mahimong negative 5ay. And then this one, for az, 6az minus 3az, mahimong plus 3az. Okay? So this is your number 1. Okay? The vector from A to B is negative 4ax minus 5ay plus 3az. Okay? So for any questions for number 1? Solving for the vector between two, solving for the vector distance between two vectors. Any questions, Lara?
None so far, sir.
None so far.
Kanan, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, sige.
Kato ganin na, sir ba? Kanang
Oh.
RBC is equal to RC minus RA. Inana dyan na, sir?
Oh. Nasaya pa na eh. RB din eh. RB. Okay, okay. Okay, so dili na pwedeng mausap ha. Nasayap lang to, nasayap. May gani ka na bantayan. Very good, very good. Okay? So, dili na mausap ha. So, you have RB. Ang RB to C would be C minus B. Ang RC to A would be A minus C. Okay? Any other questions? Kung wala lang pangutana, let's proceed with problem number 2. Okay? Now, for problem number 2, you have 2 times vector A minus 3 times vector B. So, for problem number 2, 2A minus 3B. Okay? So, this is basically just constant multiplied by a vector, and then you have 2 vectors in subtraction. So, we will have 2 times a vector A, ax plus 2ay plus 3az minus 3 times you have negative 3ax minus 3ay plus 6az. Okay. So that would be mahimo ni siyang 2ax plus 4ay plus 6az minus 9ax. Uy, mahimo rin plus. So minus negative. So mahimo plus. Then minus negative plus 9ay minus 18az. Okay? So for this one, mahimo ning ang ax, 2ax og 9ax, you have 11ax. Then ang ay kay 4ay og wait ha, kiningit-ngit man akong area dere. 4ay og 9ay will be plus 13ay.
Matagal na lang po.
Okay? And then for AZ, you have 6AZ and negative 18AZ. This will be negative 12. Negative 12 AZ. Negative 12 AZ. So you have 2AX na 11, 4 of 9, 13, and 6 and 18. This is negative 12 AZ. Sakto. Sakto, no? Sakto ba? Okay. So, that is for number 2. So again, very basic, no? Mga basics lang for algebraic operations. Okay? Next, you have dot product. Vector A dot vector B. Okay, so ano natin dot product. Okay, ito na yung erase me. Okay, for number 3, vector A kuno dot vector B. Now, if you're going to recall, diba, vector A dot vector B, you have magnitude sa A times magnitude sa B, cosine of the angle between them. Okay? Or, you can also have A1, B1 plus A2, B2 plus A3, B3. Okay? You can also have this one. Na sir, asa man among gamiton, ana? Now, ang answer na nilang duha parehas ra gid na. Okay? Na kung asa inyo hang gamiton ana, choose asay mas daling sulbon. Mas dali ba ni sulbon base sa imong given or mas dali ba ni sulbon base sa imong given? Okay? Now, take note nga ato ang given mao ni, no? Mao ni ato ang given. Na asa may mas dali sulbon ana, ang kani or ang kani? Basically, kani siya mo'y mas dali. Kaya sulbon pa na tong angle ani. This one, solvon pa na to ang magnitude. Whereas for this formula, given tanan, na natay A1, A2, A3, na natay B1, B2, B3. Okay? So from the given, muna na itong A1, A2, A3, muna itong B1, B2, B3. Okay? So given tanan. So, ano na itong gamito? Ano, mag-isod-isod pa man tayo. Okay? Nga daggan pa magkinagagian. Solvon pa ang magnitude. Solvon pa na itong angle sa between sa A and B. Asa man ang angle between sa A and B? Technically, kanya eh. Muna ang angle between sa A and B. Okay? So, imbes na maglisod-lisod ta, ano ta sa sayon? Kanila itong gamiton ng formula, no? Mas dali man. So, take note nga ito ang vector A, ang magnitude niya kay 1, 2, ug 3. Yung vector B kay negative 3, negative 3, ug 6. Okay? So, vector A dot vector B will be 1 times negative 3 plus 2 times negative 3 plus 3 times positive 6. Sakto ba ito? Negative 3, negative 3, 6, and 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this will be negative 3 minus 6 plus 18. Or this is positive 9. So vector A dot vector B will be positive 9. Okay? So yun na lang kasi yun. Now, so far, any questions? Mga pota na. Okay, so mga pota na. Padayon ta ha. Let's proceed with number 4. Number 4 is a cross product. So number 4, you will have B cross C. Okay? So recall, ang B cross C na to, you will have magnitude sa B times magnitude sa C, cosine, ay di day. Okay, cross product naman ta, sine of the angle between B and C. Okay? Now for this one, we can also use katong matrix form. Now, asa may mas daling gamiton, sir? Okay? Na same gyapon. Kung kanya itong gamiton, kailangan pa mag-solve sa magnitude, kailangan pa mag-solve sa angle between B and C. So, angle between B and C technically is, kani, kung ano yung angle between B and C. Okay, let's see, angle theta. Okay? Now, instead nga mag-solve pa sa angle, how about mo gamit na lang ta atong matrix form? So, using matrix form, you will have, again, ang first row nimo would be ang values sa imong first vector. So, vector B man ni. Ang vector B na to is negative 3, and 6. So, this will be negative 3, and 6. Then, ang second row nimo would be ang magnitude sa imong second vector. Itong second vector is 2, 5, and 3. So, this will be 2, 5, and 3. And then, the last row would be ang AX, AY, and AZ. Okay? So again, sa matrix form, you just have to get the determinant. So again, if you're not familiar with using the basket method, just have to write the first two columns. Rewrite the first two columns. So we're going to rewrite the first two columns, -3, -3, 2, 5, ax, ay. Okay, then solving for the determinant. So recall, arrow down, arrow up, run it, yeah? So recall the determinant of the matrix. Okay, so you have B cross C will be, so for this one, this will be -15 AZ. Then this will be -9 AX. Then this will be 12 AY. Then kani siya mahimong plus, minus na no? Again, tanang arrow down is positive. Tanang arrow up is negative. Okay? So this will be -30 AX. And then this one will be -9 niya, minus man. So, niyo na lang natin. Yan na to. Minus 30 AX niya, -9 AY. And then -6 AZ. Ana. Okay, tanong natin balik. -15 AZ minus 9 AX, then -12 A. Oh, positive day. Okay na, wala nilabot ha. Okay. Okay, this one, nilabot. So 12 AY, and then 30 AX, and then negative AY, and then -6 AZ. So therefore, ato ang B cross C will be, -9 AX minus 30 AX, so -39 AX. Then for AY, you will have 12 minus negative. This will be plus 21 AY. Okay. And then for AZ, -15 AZ minus -6. So mahimo na siyang -15 plus 6. This will be -9 AZ. Okay. So you have here your B cross C. Again, call my attention na. If na ako na sa'yo pag-add or multiply or something, call my attention para dito matagbaw balik-balik. No? So, okay, you have here your B cross C. Again, take note that for that product, okay, pwede nimo ma-apply ang mga properties of multiplication. So you can have A dot B can be the same as B dot A. But for cross product, okay, for cross product, your B cross C will not be equal to C cross B. So dili applicable ang properties of multiplication for cross product, only for that product. Okay? So you have B cross C. Okay? Any questions so far? Mga pakutana?
Jamita.
Oo. Unsa sa ato? Okay, wala rin mga pakutana, no? Sige, rito sa problem number 5. Problem number 5, you have A cross B dot C. Okay, A cross B dot C. Now, for this one, again, no, ang dot product, ma-apply ra ang properties of multiplication. Ang cross product, dili. Now, since in naman ang case, okay, you have, kung inani ang style, no, nga naa na kay cross product and dot product at the same time, you have to start with the cross product. Okay, kailangan jud ka mag-start sa cross product except lang kung naanay parenthesis. Okay? So for example, what if A cross B na nya okay. What if A cross nya parenthesis B dot C? What if inana na, no? Okay? So basically kani silang duha, they are two different given. Okay? Or duha ka kuan ni sila no gipangita nga di kini sila parehas lang duha. Ano man, yung naman sila parehas. Kasi parehas naman na sir na may cross diri sir, yun na po that product din. Parehas naman na sila sir. Okay? Now for this one, okay? For this one, ang mauna should be ang cross product compared sa that product. But for this one, mauna gid ang parenthesis. Okay? Dapat mauna gid ang parenthesis. For this one, mauna ang cross product, pero for this one dapat mauna ang parenthesis. Siya man may gi-enclosed. So kung naa kay gi-enclosed nga kuan no nga mga values or naa kay mga gi-enclosed nga mga vectors, unaha gyud ang gi-enclosed always. And then sunod ang cross product. Nganong cross product may unahon sir over sa dot product? Because again ang cross product dili man siya applicable ang mga properties of multiplication niya. So di pwede mabali. So let's say for example, unahon nimo ang b dot c niya, di pa din ka mag a cross b. So di na pwede no kay sa cross product included naman ang direction. So here first ang intended yun ani is ang vector A i-cross nimo sa vector B alone. Pero kung unahon nimo ang B dot C, so dili na vector B ang gi-cross product sa vector A. Lahi na ang kaninang tibuok. Okay? Nya take note, ang cross product baya is apilon ang direction. So kung unahon na nimo mausab ang direction sa imuhang vector B, dili na vector B. Dili na siya vector B itself. Anong okay raman ang dot product, sir? Because ang dot product, magnitude raman ang kailangan. Okay? Again, dot product is just a scalar quantity while cross product is a vector quantity. Okay? So, take note, mauna yun ang cross product ha over dot product. Pero, if it is enclosed by a parenthesis, you should start with the naka-enclose with the parenthesis. Okay? So, for this one, nganong ako man ang i-specify good properly. That's because naamang goy times no ang ihatag sa problem, let's say for example na times nga nani, let's say kung number 5 A dot B cross C. What if inani nanay uban sir naa na may A dot B daan sir mo akong gamiton sir A dot B na lang A dot B kung unsay answer dire mo akong ibutang dire sir A dot B. Okay? Nanaon nila diretso no. Now, ayaw ha. Una kong giingon nga mauna gyud permanente ang cross product. Always gyud nga cross product ang mauna. Okay? Kadaghan na gyud kog estudyante nga naning nahitabo no. Kay naa man sila dot product, na naman sila answer daan sa dot product, giuna nila ang dot product. Kawan wrong na automatic. So, patay na. Wrong diretso, wala daghang storya. Okay? Again, always do first the cross product. So, for number 5, we will have, ganito number 5, A cross B dot C. A cross B, again, A cross B dot C. So again, start with cross product first. Bisan pag nauwahin na ang cross product, start with cross product always. Except lang kung gi-enclose yung parenthesis. Okay? So first, solving first for cross product. So let's say A cross B. Okay, you will have A cross B. So again, using for cross product naman here, we're going to use the matrix form. So first row would be ang magnitude sa muhang first vector A. So vector A na to kay 1ax man to, plus 2ay plus 3az. Yung vector B na to was negative 3ax minus 3ay plus 6az. And then ang third row, ax, ay, az. Okay, so just solve for the determinant. That would be, okay, so again, ako na lang ning i-kuan, no? Ako na lang ning i-rewrite ang first two columns. 1, negative 3ax, then 2, negative 3ay. Then, solve for the determinant. Okay. This will be negative 3az. Then plus 12ax, then negative 9ay day, minus na ang tanang arrow up, that would be negative 9ax, then other day 1 day. So you have 6ay plus 6ay, and then negative 6az. Okay, so this will be ax 12 minus negative, so this will be 21ax. Then for ay minus negative, so negative 15AY. And for AZ, negative 3AZ minus negative. So this will be positive 3AZ. Okay? So this is your A cross B. That's why if you can have now A cross B dot C, okay, that would be, so recall, for that product, we can just use this one. No? Ato nang i-multiply ang mga magnitude sa same og direction. Okay, sa x-axis, sa y-axis, o sa z-axis. For this one, atong A cross B is this one. Yang ato ang vector C, so itong vector C na to. You have 2ax plus 5ay of 3az. Okay, so this will be that product sa 21ax minus 15ay plus 3az. That product sa 2, 5 of 3. 2, 5 of 3. So 2a, lago sa 2ax plus 5ay plus 3az. So this will be 21 times 2 plus negative 15 times 5 plus 3 times 3. Or this is 24 minus 75 plus 9. Sakto ba akong ibuhat? 24 minus 75.
21 times 2 na, sir.
Ha? Oh, 21 times 42 dahil, my goodness. This should be 42. Okay, balik 42 minus 75 plus 9. Negative 24. Sakto ba? 10 times 1. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
sakto na ba, no? So, vector A cross vector B dot vector C. Okay, so you have your final answer. Okay? So, resume ko niya. Don't worry, kaning mga solutions, ako rin ning i-upload. Ako rin ning i-upload sa ato ang MS Teams channel. Pwede naman ko ni ma-save as PDF. Okay, so far, any questions? Wala na. So, arita sa last. Okay? Last, number 6. You have to find the angle between vector A and vector B. Basta mo ito. Para lang pas number 6B. Okay? Angle between vector A and vector B. Now, how to solve for the angle? Saan mo na pag-solve ang angle, sir? Okay? Angle between A and B is basically this one, no? Kani? Mo ni ang angle sa between vector A and vector B. Okay? Saan mo na muna pag-solve, sir? Nga 3-dimensional man na, sir. Okay? Maglisod man may og gamit og kung ano ni sir kanang using mga formulas for triangle. Now, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to use katong mga recall mo katong mga cosine law, mga sine law. We don't need to use that. All you need to do is recall na atay mga formulas nga nag-involve og angle. So mo na nga formulas sir nga nag-involve og angle. Recall dot product. Di ba ang dot product you have vector A, magnitude sa vector A times magnitude sa second vector, cosine of the angle between them. And also have cross product. Recall also, di ba, ang cross product, magnitude sa first vector times magnitude sa second vector, sine of the angle between them. Okay? So, puros na yung angle. Sir, asa may gamito na to, sir? Ang cross product or ang dot product. Now, if you want to solve for the angle, basically, you can use both. Okay? Pero, mas dali lang ang dot product. It's because ang dot product, magnitude lang. Walang cross product, okay? Basically, ang cross product na siya ay direction. Mailhan mo di ba, kaya ang imong i-compare ang mga answers sa dot product, ang answer there is magnitude only. Here, ang answer sa cross product na agya po yung direction. Okay? So, it's very hard to use the cross product involve gya po ng direction. Okay? So, much better ari na lang ta sa dot product kay puro ra magnitude. Okay? So, using dot product. Okay? So, again, no, ang pinakasayon mo itong gamiton. So, since vector A and vector B man vector A dot vector B is equal to magnitude sa A times magnitude sa B, cosine of the angle between them, between A and B. Okay? So for this one, para masolve ito ang angle, okay, divide everything with the magnitude of A and B. So this will be cosine of the angle between A and B is equal to vector A dot vector B over magnitude sa A times magnitude sa B. Okay? Na since angle naman na itong kailangan, then angle between A and B is just arc cosine. Okay? Arc cosine sa magnitude sa A dot vector A dot vector B divided by magnitude sa A times magnitude sa B. But also take note, okay, this angle will be the smallest angle. Okay? Smallest angle available. So may small nga, sa papasabot smallest angle, sir. For example, kung mo ni imuhang vector A, for example, no, mo ni imuhang vector A nya, mo ni imuhang vector B, kani nga angle mo ay pasabot. Naday lang angle dia, sir. Yes, naa kani. Angle man sad na. Say angle phi. Ba angle man sad na. Pero bigger angle lang ni. Ang smaller angle mo yato ang gipangita. Okay? So, to obtain a smaller angle, ato lang ning absolute value. Okay? Matrix naman hinoon. Ato lang ning absolute value, we have to solve for the positive value of this one before nato siya i-arc cosine. Okay? Kailangan nato solvon ang positive value ani first. Sir, pwede din naman negative, sir. Yes, pwede. Ang A dot B di ay, pwede man naman negative ang A dot B nimo. Ang kaning magnitude sa A o magnitude sa B, positive gina always. Pero ang A dot B, pwede man negative. So again, kailangan positive values tanan before na to i-arc cosine so that we can get the smallest angle. Okay? Take note ha, smallest angle ginaang atong kailangan. Now, continuing with our formula, arc cosine sa A dot B for the magnitude of A and magnitude of B. Take note na naman tayo, kuan di ba, na natay A dot B. So A dot B, A dot B, A dot B. Dara atong A dot B. 9. So na natay A dot B. Ato na lang is magnitude sa A and magnitude sa B. Okay, where magnitude sa A is equal square root rato. So take note nga to ang vector A is ax2 ay of 3az. Ang B na to is negative 3ax, negative 3ay of positive 6az. So this will just be 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared ang magnitude sa A, which is square root sa 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared. This square root of 14. Okay? And then, for magnitude sa B, this is square root sa 3 squared plus 3 squared plus 6 squared. Sir, di ba negative man ang 3, sir? Now, nga nang wala ni mo ginegative, sir? Nga dapat negative man na siya. Take note ha, vector B, negative 3 ax nya minus 3 ay. So, negative dapat ang 3. Na nga nang wala man ako ginegative. It's because negative 3 squared nimo is just the same as positive 3 squared. Di ba? Square nimo ang negative, positive naman gyapon ang resulta na. So, since square man na poros, square man na permanente, di na lang na-copy ng negative. It's just the same. Mas dali pa. Okay? So, muna nga, dili na lang na ko i-appeal ang negative diri nga part. So, this will be square root of 3 squared plus 3 squared plus 6 squared. 3 square root of 6. Okay. 3 square root of 6. Okay, again ha, wala na ako giapil ang negative kay inig square ana positive ra man gyapon ang resulta. Same ra gyapon sa akong positive ang square. Okay? So you have here your magnitude sa vector B, magnitude sa vector A. Therefore, pwede na nato ni sulbuhan ko arc cosine sa ang A dot B na to is you have here 9. Okay? So you have 9 divided by magnitude sa vector A, square root of 14, times magnitude sa vector B is 3, square root of 6. Okay? Then this is 9 divided by square root of 14. Okay? Times square root of 3 square root of 6. Arc cosine 70.89 or 70.9. 70.9 degrees. Okay? This will be the angle between A and B. Okay? So, muna ang angle na to between vector A and vector B, that is 70.9 degrees. Okay? So far, any questions? Mga pangutana? Okay, any questions? Na mga pangutana regarding sa ato ang mga examples for kung ano, algebraic operations of vectors? Wala ra. Ano to, oras. Oh, 10:30 na. Okay? So as you can see here, puro ra gyud ni ko ano, puro ra gyud ni algebraic operation of vectors. Okay? Now, take note, kaning atong gibuhat diri tanan, these are all reviews. These are all vector reviews. O dili, wala pa nilabot ang kuan, no? Wala pa nilabot ang main topics nato. Take note, ang electromagnetics is divided into two parts. You have the electrostatics and the magnetic circuits. Wala pa tayo electrostatics diri nga part. Wala pa sa magnetic circuits diri nga part. Puro pa ni vector review. Okay? So, importante kayong vector review kay wala mang good dili mang good in ana ka solid ang inyong discussion sa vectors, no? Let's say pag senior high ninyo. Okay, kay ang algebra, ang kaning vector supposedly adto ni siya sa algebra kaning vectors. Now, tell me, gidiscuss ba ni inani sa kuan inyong algebra pag senior high? Naabay discussion na hitabo sa inyong senior high nani? Vectors, vector addition, vector subtraction, algebraic operations of vectors. Naabay na hitabo nga nani sa inyong kuan, inyong algebra?
Murag na sir.
Murag na mas maayo kung inana man gani, no? Okay, mas maayo kung murag na. Problema lang kay naalay murag. Patay ta. Likado. Okay, naalay gyud murag. Hindi na tatong sigurado. Okay. So na no nga gisiguro sa gid nako nga maka-review ta sa vectors. Because all throughout ra gyud sa atong discussion, we will always be using vectors. Perminti tang mag addition of vectors, perminti tang mag subtraction of vectors, perminti tang mag multiplication of vectors, and then division of vectors. Puro gyud nag-involve og vector. So mo na nga kailangan jud ko mag-review og vectors. Okay? So again, any questions na ay mga nalibgan or something during during the discussion sa solution? Okay? Wala ra? Sige, no? Kung wala ra yung mga pangutana, now. So to. Stop na ko ang share screen. Now, don't worry. Ako ra ning i-upload no kani akong gibuhat nga sa pangalan ni. Kani akong gibuhat nga solution sa open board. Again, take note, ako ra maning ma-save as PDF. Ako lang ning i-upload diretso sa ato ang MS Teams channel. And then, ang kaning recording, don't worry sad, I will upload this as soon as possible. I'll try my best to upload this as soon as possible para naasad mo mabasihan og balik, ma-review. Okay? Next meeting, we will proceed with the main topics na, no? Starting with electrostatics. So, sir, wala pa rin sa main topic, sir. Wala pa yun. Okay? Magsugod pa lang ta sa main topic. Review pa lang to. Okay, we will now start next meeting. We will now start with electrostatics. Now, again, don't worry. Naagya po yung notes nga akong ihatag, no? Okay? Pero, wala, same gihapon, wala like ka ng kuan. Wala like ka ng mga examples. Okay? So, ako notes na ihatag is ang mga main topics lang sa electrostatics. Okay? Specifically, mga topics sa electrostatics, you have the Coulomb's law, you have the electric field intensity, you have the volume charge, you have line charge, you have surface charge, you have electric flux density, Gauss law, and divergence. Okay? So, there are 9 topics sa electrostatics. Okay? 9 topics. Then, electrostatics pa na wala pa ilabot ang magnetic circuits. Ang magnetic circuits, mas daghan siya og topics. Pero, nakanindot lang sa magnetic circuits, kuan lang, no? Mas masayon ra siya because direct sabra man gud ang magnetic circuits. Kung i-compare nimo sa electrostatics. Ang electrostatics man gud ang nakalisod gud sa electrostatics is three-dimensional siya, no? Tanan atong buhaton, tanang lihok sa electrostatics puro three-dimensional. While for magnetic circuits, ang problem niya is daghan kay siya og formula, okay? Pero bisag daghan kay siya og formula, sayon ra man sa iyahang mga problems kay direct sabra man sad siya. Okay? So again, next meeting we will start with our first topic for electrostatics. That would be the first intro sa ato ang main event. Okay. So far, any question? Pananing stop recording.